Probably the most requested robot vacuum for us to review is the second generation Roborock, the S5. So we finally bought one and put it through all of our usual tests, and I have to say I was pretty impressed. So links in the description for current prices, and let's get started. The S5 is the top-of-the-line robot vacuum from Roborock, a subsidiary of the tech giant Xiaomi, and it's packed with a lot of useful features that very few robot vacuums have. Jumping into the pros, we tested its airflow with an anemometer and found that it ranged from 17 CFM on high power to 9 CFM on low power, which, though basically the same as the mid-level Roborock E25, is still better than average. For comparison, its high power was the same as the top-of-the-line Roombas, like the 980 or the new i7. It cleaned exceptionally well on all of its 4 power settings. I was particularly impressed with its low power performance, where I think I can safely say it did better than any other robot vacuum I've ever tested in low power, especially on hard floors where robot vacuums tend to struggle on low power. On high power it did better, but it was very close to the same performance. Unlike so many robot vacuums, its side brush doesn't scatter debris. Also, its exhaust doesn't blow debris around. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but not scattering debris or blowing it around is kind of rare. On carpet, it had the same great pickup ability on all of its power settings, and on the carpet deep clean test, where we rub 100 grams of sand into medium pile carpet and weigh the dust bends, it scored 72%, which is really good for a robot vacuum. The highest I've ever seen is 76%, with 30% being the lowest. One major pro is its navigation and mapping. The Roborock S5 uses a spinning invisible laser to map out your home, and it cleans in straight, efficient lines while using an impressive suite of sensors to navigate around obstacles and reduce bumping into things. I also like that it incorporates edge cleaning twice into every run. But the really impressive features are with the mapping and the associated app. Once it has completed a run or two, you can create virtual lines or boxes to prevent the robot from going certain places. As I said when this feature came out, it's a game changer. Regardless of if you think your home is clutter-free, there's always going to be a few places that you would prefer the robot not to go because it will have a tendency to get stuck, whether that's on cords or under beds or whatever. But being able to create unlimited virtual barriers idiot-proofs the robot's run, and you can safely schedule cleaning so you'll never come home to a stuck robot that didn't finish its job. In addition to that, it also has a zone clean feature where you can draw a box or multiple boxes on a map and it will go clean just that area. So for instance, if you wanted it to just clean around the dining room table or the kitchen, it could do that. I was really impressed with the app in general. It has a lot of useful stuff like scheduling, reports with maps, a remote control, and various modes like spot clean. Another area that the Roborock S5 blew me away was with its battery life. So Roborock claims that the S5 can get 2.5 hours on low power on hard floors, which is the most I've ever heard of. But even in our high power tests, it ran for 110 minutes, almost 2 hours, and that was at 17 CFM of airflow. Compare that to the Roomba 980 running only 48 minutes at 17 CFM. It beats every other vacuum I've tested with battery life on high power by a huge margin. Like the Roborock E25, it was unusually clean after all our tests. Very little debris in the housing and no hairs stuck in the non-tangle brush, which is fairly rare. And it's also a mop. It comes with an attachment which locks on to the underside of the unit. After filling it with water, it slowly seeps into the mopping pad. It operates as a dry vacuum at the same time, and it did much better than I was expecting, as it cleaned up several stains on the studio floor. For some reason, the Roborock E25 didn't do as good in our tests, despite it having the exact same mopping attachment. But either way, the main reason I would recommend the mopping of the S5 over the E25 is because the S5 has the virtual barriers and zone cleaning feature, so you can make sure that the robot only mops the hard floors in your home and not the carpets. So all the extra mapping features are a must for mopping robots in my opinion. The next few things are not pros or cons, but just kind of neutral. The edge cleaning was just average. It did leave a little bit in the corners, and it was just about par for course for round robots. The crevice pickup test was a little above average, as it did clear all the debris from the 1/8 inch crevice, which is more than enough for tile floors. As far as negative things, its dustbin size was below average. We measured it at 1 dry cup, which is a touch smaller than the E25, but I assume they had to make room for the huge battery somewhere. Also, it can't clean black carpet since the cliff detection sensors think it's a drop-off, which is a little nitpicky since very few robots can clean black carpet. So I have to say I was very impressed with the Roborock S5. It has a lot of power, it's incredibly good at cleaning, even in low power. It has the most battery life of any robot vacuum I know of, and it has one of the best navigation, mapping, and barrier features on the market. So, links in the description for current prices, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars as we have a huge competition competition coming up with 14 different robot vacuums, and I have a suspicion that the Roborock S5 will end up placing pretty high. Consider a like if this video helped you out, and thanks for watching.